finally tonight, as promised, a special comment on Mr. Bush's smear today of MoveOn.org, and in a larger context, his smear of criticism of his own political frontmen. With the president behaving a little more than usual, like we'd all interrupted him while he was watching his favorite.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. The Factors Person of the Year is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. On Wednesday, Time magazine will announce its Person of the Year, and on its website, Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling is the leading vote getter. Memo to Time. No. Al Gore is also a crowd favorite.
In condescending and infuriating fashion, produced a big wow political finish that indicates certainly that if it was not already, the annual Republican witch hunting season is underway. I thought the ad was disgusting. I felt the ad was not intact not only on General Petraeus but on the U.S. military, and I was disappointed that not more leaders in the Democrat Party spoke out strongly against that kind of ad. And that leads me to come to this conclusion, that most Democrats are afraid of irritating a left-wing group like MoveOn.org, or more afraid of irritating them than they are of irritating the United States military.
But again, he would not be a good choice, and Time knows it. Now, the Factors Person of the Year must meet some very strict requirements. The person must have done something extraordinary, must be a world player, and must have changed history in some way. That is our yardstick.
Pretending you're not a politician, so stop using words your party made up. Show a little respect. Secondly, you could say this seriously after the advertising mugging of Senator Max Cleland, after the swift voting of John Kerry. But most importantly, making that the last question, a plant, so that there was no chance.
And so the Factor Person of the Year is General David Petraeus, who has turned a disastrous military situation in Iraq into a possible victory in less than a year. You'll remember how the general got worked over by some Congress people, how many folks...
You were the one who inappropriately interjected General Petraeus into the political dialogue of this nation in the first place? Deliberately, premeditatedly, and virtually without precedent, you shanghaied a military man as your personal spokesman, and now you're complaining about the outcome?
Publicly, the so-called surge in Iraq would not work. Well, they were wrong. Violence is now at the lowest level since the conflict began in 2003. Obviously, a stunning turnaround in less than a year. As Talking Points has stated, there are Americans who desperately want the USA to lose in Iraq. Some of those people are in the media, so reporting on the surge has been sparse, to say the least.
Hopes of getting them to vote for your own party has never brought as much as a public comment from you. The Republican hamstringing of Captain Max Cleland and the lying about Lieutenant John Kerry, those met with your approval. But a shot at General Petraeus, about whom you conveniently ignore, it is you who reduced him from four-star hero to political hack. That merits this pissy, juvenile blast at the Democrats on national television. Your hypocrisy is so vast, sir.
The hate Bush crowd simply will never admit anything good can come from the Iraq conflict. These people are bitter, dishonest, and, of course, damaging to America. Fair-minded people can oppose the war in Iraq, yet want to see their country succeed in that place. There's no question that a stable Iraq is good for the world because it provides a bulwark against Islamic terrorism and Iranian expansion.
Realize your dream and keep us fighting there until the year 3000.
The cost has been great. We all know that. In suffering, in cash, and the Iraqi government is still a mess. But General Petraeus, backed by a brave and professional U.S. military, has restored much order, largely defeated the Iraqi al-Qaeda thugs, and at least given the good people of that country a chance to prosper.
General David... When Douglas MacArthur attempted to make policy for the United States in Korea half a century ago, President Truman moved quickly to fire him, even though Truman knew it meant his own political suicide and the deification of a general who history suggests had begun to lose his mind.
To prosper. General David Petraeus is the Factor Person of the Year by a wide margin. And that's the memo.
Smear the Army because it would not defer the service of one of McCarthy's staff aides. The entire civilian and Defense Department structures, after 4 years of fearful servitude, rose up against McCarthy and said enough and buried him. The list is not.
Thank you for watching us tonight. Time Magazine's Man of the Year is Vladimir Putin. Ours is General David Petraeus. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo.
Crisis and was retired. Army General Edwin Anderson Walker, who started passing out John Birch Society leaflets to his soldiers and was fired. Marine General Smedley Butler, who revealed to Congress the makings of a plot to remove FDR as president.
For the title, General Petraeus came in 5th in the Time process. Selecting Gore as Person of the Year would have meant some subscription cancellations, and the political correctness of it all was even
phased out of the military hierarchy. These careers were ended because the line between the military and the civilian is not to be crossed. Mr. Bush, you had no right to order General Petraeus to become your front man, and he obviously should have refused that order and resigned rather than ruin his military career. The upshot is...
His blame the USA mantra is tiresome and inaccurate. The entire world is to blame.
Advertisement. He betrayed himself more than he did us. But there has been in his actions a sort of reflexive courage, some twisted vision of duty at a time of crisis. That the man does not understand that serving officers cannot double as serving political ops is not so much his fault.
General David Petraeus has pulled off an astounding feat in Iraq, and if that conflict turns around, the world will be a much safer place, and the bad guys will be dealt a very nasty blow, including bad guy
Mr. Bush, you have hidden behind the general's skirts. And today you have hidden behind the skirts of the planted last question at a news conference to indicate once again that your presidency has been about the tilted playing field, about no rules for your party in terms of character assassination and changing the fabric of our nation, and no right for your opponents.
It's clear the American media is playing down the improving Iraq situation because it doesn't help the Democrats. But fair-minded Americans know this is a vital situation. And General Petraeus is...
That, sir, is not only un-American, it is dictatorial. And in pimping General David Petraeus, sir, in violation of everything this country has been assiduously and vigilantly against for 2 years.
And General Petraeus has done a magnificent job. Thus, he is the Factor's Person of the Year. As for Putin, he's a brutal guy, a KGB thug who's no friend to freedom.
You have tried to blur the gleaming radioactive demarcation between the military and the political, and to portray your party as the one associated with the military and your opponents as the ones somehow antithetical to it. You did it again today, sir, and you need to know how history will judge that line you just crossed.
Friend of freedom. But he is a factor in this world, no question about it. So Time has its Person of the Year, and the Factor has ours. You can decide which...
It is a line, thankfully only the first of a series of lines, that makes the military political and the political military. It is a line which history shows is always the first one crossed when a democratic government in some other country has started down the long, slippery, suicidal slope towards a military junta.
That was a sorry deal.
Get back behind that line, Mr. Bush, before some of your supporters mistake your dangerous and stupid transgression as a call to further politicize our military.
It's one thing to attack me. It's another thing to attack somebody like General Petraeus.
Military. Good night and good luck.
It's ours. You can decide which perspective is more worthy. And that's a memo. Dennis Miller with his People of the Year coming up.